Hi, this is Tamara Bernadette with Girl Changed, and I just wanted to talk to you for a few minutes about good character. And we're going through a time right now that is really challenging for a lot of people. We're seeing the worst in people right now, and we're seeing people behave in ways that we've never seen before because they are just very upset and very passionate about certain things that are going on, and unfortunately it's bringing out the worst in people. It's very shocking, very surprising, and it just got me to thinking, what about character? What about good character? So asking the question, when you think of good character, what comes to your mind when you hear the term good character, when you hear so-and-so has really good character, or their character is really, it's sketchy. But what comes to your mind when you think of it? Where does it come from? Can you, do you automatically just have it, or is it something that you need to work on? Well, I believe you need to work on it. Yes, some people grow up and they're just happy people. I've heard of some people that go through adversity, and through the whole time they just are still a joyful person, and they still have been throughout all their life going from rags to riches, or from riches to rags to riches. I've heard that before. And they have never skipped a beat. They've always had this great character. And when I did a little bit of research on that and what made them this way, they all have said it comes from a deeper place. That yes, they experienced hard times, and most people it would break them and cause them to be bitter and angry, but they had something inside them that they drew from, that no matter what happened, no matter their outside circumstances, inside they still had a natural joy that they had inside that kept them from being angry and bitter and resentful. And they've always been this way. Well, that's wonderful. I wish I could say I was that person, but I'm not. I had to learn it. I had to work it. And I have to be really honest. I didn't go about it on my own. I didn't go say, hey, you know what? I feel like studying this. No, I didn't. I didn't do that. It happened to me. I had to do this. I had to learn. I had to. Well, I was broken down. I was broken down to become this different person. So when I saw in my Bible what the fruits of the Holy Spirit is, what all those character traits are, I began to see the breakdown of what the Lord had to do in me to become a different person. So I feel really good about who I am right now, but when I compare myself to who I used to be, totally different, totally different. And so it made me ask the question, and these times that we're facing right now, it's pretty ugly out there. It's very ugly, and I wonder sometimes about character. It's just so ugly. So aside from that, when you hear the words good character, could you say, or would you say that you have good character, or do you think that there's some areas that possibly you need to work on? And I think that's true for many of us, that there are different things that we need to work on. I know I have a very dear friend who is, I have to say, she is naturally a person that has inner joy. I've seen her broken down. I've seen her go through some very, very difficult times. And what she has gone through has been so bad that it would have destroyed many a woman on what she's gone through. But she persevered, and she's coming out ahead. But she is always, even in her sadness, even in her phone calls where she's just bawled her eyes out, she has always had a joyful spirit. Her heart has always been good, and I think that's such a wonderful trait. And that is the difference between happiness and having a joyful heart, because happiness is temporary. It's an emotion that is based off of outside circumstances, situations, or things that make us happy. But then that's gone. But a person that is naturally, that just has joy in their heart, and they're a joyful person, they're content. They can handle adversity. They can handle the knockdowns of life because they have the joy. It's a foundation that comes from the Holy Spirit. It's a spiritual matter that causes us to. It's part of the foundation of having the fruits of the Holy Spirit. Is the foundation of good character. And there are 9 traits. I hope what I said makes sense. But there are 9 traits to the Holy Spirit, and I'll read them to you. They are love, joy, peace. So see that? Love, joy, and peace. Long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And each one of those they're all big. They're all biggies that we could work on for a long time individually. And other people will say that, well, when I think of good character traits, I think of something else. Well, I understand that. And those other attributes, they might be different for everybody. So many different attributes people could say. But a couple I looked up online just to see what are some common ones, and they are integrity, honesty, courage, loyalty, good behavior, good habits, and there are many more. But I believe that before you can even display those attributes, there needs to be a foundation, a real foundation, before you can have those, because it's too easy to show your loyalty to one particular person and not to another person if your heart's not right. You could have good habits in this area, but like you have really good habits of to work on time and being a good worker, but then you could be in charge of some group or an organization, maybe at your church, and you're always late, and you can't be depended upon, so it goes to the next person, those responsibilities. Just stuff like that. So, it's not the same. Or maybe your attitude toward one or the other is completely different. And there's just different levels. And so that, to me, is saying that that's not really who you are. It's very selective. You feel like being honest in this area, but over here, you're really not you don't feel like being honest in this area. Your good behavior could be good in this area, but over in this area, you're slack. So it's not the same across the board. But when you're coming from a place, from the fruits of the Holy Spirit, because it is deeper, it is spiritual, when you are coming from that place, that foundation, you are pulling from that, and it is grounded and rooted, and you can be those other things. You can display those other things because they are coming from a different place. That's my opinion. That is my experience, and I just wanted to share that with you because I think about some of the things that we hear in what's going on in the presidential race. We hear, I've seen some documentaries and so forth about, different people having, they were so good in this area and they did all these wonderful things. But then on the opposite side, there's no consistency, and they're saying, well, this same person, well, we've seen them do these things, and so it shows that the characteristics, the character of this person is sketchy. So it made me think of, well, how are we? What are we like? How are we acting towards people? How are we showing good character? Are we trustworthy on a daily basis? Are we loving on a daily basis? Are we forgiving? Are we kind? Are we generous? Are we displaying self-control? Are we displaying peace? Are we just showing good character, or are we being selective? It just made me wonder. So what I know is that comes from what's in our heart. What things are we putting into our heart? What kinds of things are living in our heart? What are we displaying? So the question is, what's in your heart? What is really in your heart? Is it anger, resentment? Is it bitterness? Is it unforgiveness? I mean, what's in there? I'm just challenging you to think about it for a while, because I know I had to think about that. I went through, like I said, a long period of where I really had to work on myself. I did, and my character wasn't so good before, and I thought it was, but I couldn't have been more wrong. So I know I'm not the only one out there, but it just made me think. I wanted to just post that question out there and just have people think about it. And I know in my book I wrote a lot about those different things, the fruits of the Holy Spirit, and how it affected me and my growth in that. And it's still available. My book is still available, and it's called Love Isn't. And it's about, just briefly, it's about what I used to think that love really was and how I lived it out, and what I realized what it is based off of the fruits of the Holy Spirit. When we act in love, we have real love in our heart. It's gonna change us, and we're going to treat people differently, and in God's way. So anyway, that's what the book is about. So anyway, again, so ask yourself, what's in your heart? What's in your heart when you are out and about, when you are interacting with people, no matter what it is, if it's casual, if it's at home, if it's in your social circles, if it's at the grocery store, if you're driving and you hate the traffic, whatever it is, what's in your heart? Think about that. Think about that. How is your character? Think about it. I just wanted to take a few moments for you to ponder those thoughts. So anyway, thank you for listening, and don't forget to go look at my website, TamaraBernadette.com. Thank you for watching. Good night. Have a good one.